ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure and privilege to have come across with you all fine people. And it is definitely my honor that I could connect with you all, interact with you all. And now we have definitely, post-lunch, it is towards the end of the session. The last session of the day and the entire summit. I hope you've had a great time and good day so far. I am confident and absolutely, sure that, the seminar or the technical session that we are going to be organizing right now in front of you, it will be equally interactive for all of you. But before we start this entire technical session, it is definitely a pleasure that to have you all out here, and I'm really very proud to see all of you being associated with IOV. So all the valuers, professionals, and individuals, you're here, and I really like you to show me that yes, you've got the zeal, and you will keep motivating people like us forever. There is a cheering session, and to do the honor, I would request on stage the moderator of our panel discussion today, Mr. R.K. Patel. Mr. Patel is highly educated member of valuers community in India with number of degrees and qualifications under his belt. He is known all around India for his deep knowledge in the field of valuation and an enthusiasm to share his knowledge amongst others. He has more than 17 years of industrial experience at various levels. He has been practicing as a valuer, insurance surveyor, and loss assessor, cost and management accountant, chartered engineering and certified engineer, energy audition for more than 20 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming none other than Mr. R.K. Patel. Now I would like to invite on stage the keynote speaker for this particular technical session, the Chartered Accountant, Insolvency Professional and Registered Valuer, Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju. Hailing from a family of Chartered Accountants, Gopal Krishna Raju is himself a CA, Registered Insolvency Professional and a Registered Valuer, who has served consecutive 3 terms as a SIRC of ICAI. A capable columnist in the Hindu daily and weekly magazines Nayam Vikatan and Puthiya Thalai Murai Kalvi. Is his passion of writing on technology and taxation has aided him author of 2 books, Standard Costing and Variance Analysis for Professional Students and First Lessons in Information Technology for CA students. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju. Please join me welcoming him. The chairman of the session, Managing Director, ICSI, is Dr. Binoy Joy. He is the Managing Director of ICSI. He's not here? Okay. And Regulatory of IBBI. But unfortunately, he is not present with us today. So we are really thanking him for being a part of it. But unfortunately, physically, he is not present here. Now I would like to introduce the panelists. Mr. G.V. Apparao. He is the partner, GP, Ankaram and Associates. What is the secret behind his being so popular? I think being handsome is one of the reasons. Mr. G.V. Apparao, the partner of GP Sankaram and Associates Registered Partnership Firm, and he is qualified Valuer in Land and Building and Plant and Machinery by virtue. A post-graduation in Valuation from Sardar Patel University. He is a member of the Institution of Surveyor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. G.V. Apparao, please. Sir, I really want to know what is the secret of your popularity. And when he smiles, he looks amazingly handsome. Now it is the time for our next panelist, Mr. Sachin Garg. He is a registered valuer and the council member, Institution of Valuers. Sachin Garg is an engineering graduate from Delhi. He has many professional degrees to his laurels. He holds double post-graduation degree in valuation, specialized in real estate and plant and machinery from Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. He has taken certified valuation course from IIM, Bangalore, and specialized course in valuation of intellectual property rights. He has experience of more than 15 years in valuation. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Mr. Sachin Garg is one of the panelists. Thank you, sir. Next name in the panelist is Mr. S. Pichaiya. He holds an MS in Civil Engineering and MSc in Real Estate Valuation. Started his valuation and consultancy practice in one of the oldest valuation firms in Tamil Nadu. He has 42 years of experience in valuation of immovable properties. He has carried out over 25,000 valuation assignments in over 4 decades of practice. 25,000. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming Mr. Pichaiya. Thank you, sir. I would like to now invite another panelist, Mr. Vivek Johar, the Director, Protocol Valuers Private Limited. Mr. Johar is a Director with Protocol Valuers Private Limited. He is BTech Mechanical, a Chartered Engineer, and a Registered Valuer with IBBI, and an insurance professional. He is a part of management of protocol operations across the globe, including technical direction and client management on complex engagements. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Mr. Vivek Johar. And the last but not the least panel member in our last technical session, we have Mr. Abhay Kumar, Insolvency professional and registered valuer. Mr. Abhay Kumar is an insolvency professional and registered valuer. Apart from being a business and software consultant, after working for about 33 years in private and government sector, in enterprises in different roles, he has moved into valuation and insolvency and bankruptcy space. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Mr. Kumar. Please put your hands together. I would now request our keynote speaker, the Chartered Accountant, Insolvency Professional and Registered Valuer, Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju, to say a few words. Sir?
Very good afternoon, friends. At the outset, let me thank Institution of Valuers for giving me a wonderful opportunity to be part of Golden Jubilee Celebrations Summit, the Global Valuation Summit, an opportunity to share my thoughts on the role of registered valuers under CARP process and liquidation. I must thank in my panel, the chairman of the panel and moderator, cost accountant R.K. Patel, insolvency professional and registered valuer. My very good friends on the panel, Shri G.V. Apparao, Shri Sachin Garg, Mr. Vivek Johar, Mr. Abhay Kumar, and my senior and very Reverend personality, Chairman of Valuation Standards Board of IOV, Shri S. Pichaiya. I'm greatly indebted for him for the various interactions and opportunities. Thereby today, almost 18 months back, I was a novice in valuation, and today under his guidance and many of my friends and well-wishers, today I am standing before you presenting my thoughts on the role of RV under resolution liquidation. Friends, before I start, let me share with you that there are three difficult things but not impossible. Number one, climbing a ladder. Many of you are, majority of you are engineers here, you can understand. Climbing a ladder that is leaning towards you, that means climbing from the bottom. Because of the gravitational pull, it will be difficult to climb. Second most difficult thing is proposing true love for the fear of rejection. We have all crossed that age. 3, addressing and attending an afternoon session. But I will assure you, the next 15 minutes, I need your complete attention, because this is going to be the most important session, being this profession of valuation has got its first recognition through the Companies Act 2013 under the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, because in the order of preference, if you see, Insolvency Bankruptcy Code kick-started, then Companies Act engulfed the need of registered valuers, and today even SEBI also in various regulations, they have identified the need for a registered valuer. Now let me first start with my agenda. This is what I'm going to share with you. The first point I want to share with all of you is that the recognition given to a registered valuer in Insolvency Bankruptcy Code. Friends, Insolvency Bankruptcy Code 2016, along with that, if you buy any book on IBC, it is not Insolvency Bankruptcy Code 2016 alone. It comes with the entire Bandhu, the entire undivided family of IBC. There will be rules, there will be regulations, there will be innumerable circulars, directions, and today a lot of case laws are also has come. And all these are bundled together is the insolvency laws. And in that I am going to share with you only three most important aspects. One, the Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India Insolvency Resolution Process for Corporate Persons Regulation 2016. It is recently amended last year on 6th of February 2018. That particular point I will share with you. Second, I will also share with you the relevance of valuation in voluntary liquidation as well as the liquidation process. I repeat, voluntary liquidation as well as the liquidation process. So these are the three aspects I am going to share with you. Now first, before I mention this aspect, let us be very clear about one aspect. Insolvency is a word, let me be very clear first. If my asset value is 200 and my debt is 120, I am not insolvent, I am solvent. But if the reverse happens, my debt is 200, I repeat, my debt is 200 and my assets is 120, then I am in a stressed company, I may be pushed to insolvency. Now, such is the scenario where there are innumerable companies. Yesterday onwards we have been even discussing on that. When such companies are there, what is the situation the creditors will take? IBC is a procedure where two process have been given. One is called the resolution process. I repeat, resolution process. The resolution is let the creditors sit together, discuss, and if the liability is 200 and my asset is 120, from where 80 will come? It is difficult. Somebody has to put money. Or if nobody is there, they have to take haircut. So 40% of 200 they have to take an haircut. So balance 120. They may either liquidate it, or they may bring somebody else to replace maybe the old devil will be replaced by a new devil. We don't know. So some model has to be arrived at, or a plan will be discussed. Don't worry, allow me to actually run the company, and I will repay you over a period of maybe 3 years or even 7 years or 10 years or 12 years. Now, this is called resolution. And the most important person who will actually trigger this resolution plan to function is a registered valuer. And because the number what he decides, number what he estimates, that only actually decides the entire resolution process to actually fructify. Now please look at this. This is the regulation 27. It says within 7 days and to maximum 47 days. The point here is the resolution professional has to appoint the registered valuer within 7 days of his appointment, and maximum 47th day, maximum 47 days. He can take 7 days of his appointment, and maybe if he hasn't done within 7 days, maybe he can do the appointment maximum within 47th day of the insolvency commencement date. Because generally this resolution professional will be appointed on the 30th day from the insolvency commencement date. The first 30 days is a honeymoon period, is the interim resolution professional. He will actually bring the creditors together, and the directors will be suspended. Creditors only will be running, the decision makers will be them, and the interim resolution professional will run the company for 30 days. He may be either continuing if the COC votes in favor for them, else the new resolution professional will be appointed by the committee. That is why in the amendment they have actually removed the IRP. They have substituted IRP with the resolution professional. That is why the green color resolution professional within 7 days to 47 days. Now I want to share with you a very important point here. 2 registered valuers will be appointed. Now will it be a land and building valuer, or a plant and machinery valuer, or an SFA valuer? It is at the whims and fancy, at the discretion of the resolution professional. But please look at this. I will bring your kind attention to the word called fair value and liquidation value. Because these 2 registered valuers have to determine the fair value and liquidation value. I will come to you what do you mean by this fair value and registered value a little later. Now, this fair value and liquidation value, please look at this, regulation 35. From 27 I am going to 35. There it says, it has to be computed in accordance with the internationally accepted valuation standards. As of today in India, IBBI is in the process of, Mr. Pichaiya is also forming part of that particular committee, the committee to advise on the valuation standards. Anytime IBBI may come out with an Indian version of the valuation, internationally acceptable valuation standard. Until such time, maybe the international valuation standards or an equivalent of that can be adopted. Please look at that red color. After physical verification of inventory and fixed assets. So here, what is they refer to as the physical assets. Please look at this, after physical verification. So it is not that appointment will be done, balance sheet will be given, papers will be given, document will be given, valuation report will be sought online through email. No. There is a necessity as per the regulation to physically verify the inventory and fixed asset. So my view is these 2 registered valuers, if it is a valuation with respect to selling the company as such, as a going concern, maybe I may need the requirement of the plant and machinery valuer, land and building valuer, and also an SFA valuer. Now please look at this second part. he shall provide the fair value and liquidation value to every member of the committee of creditors in electronic form. This number has to be kept confidential. Please look at the sub-rule, sub-regulation 3. Both the RP, who appoints? RP appoints. Who gives the report? The registered valuer gives the report. To whom? The resolution professional. What he gives? The fair value and the liquidation value. What is fair value, liquidation value? I will come. But what the RP has to do? He must provide. Look at the word shall. He must provide the fair value and liquidation value to every member of the committee in electronic form. But please look at this. After getting a declaration of confidentiality, he will share that information. Only to the committee member, nobody else. Now, as far as registered valuer is concerned, when valuation is going on, phone calls will be coming, innumerable accessibility will be done to the RV. Please share the number. As per the regulation, RV must keep his mouth quiet, and the number should be shared only by the report, only to the resolution professional. Now, please look at this particular term. This weight and weighting, because why I am mentioning this particular point, if you look at that, there is an averaging which has to be done here. If you look at item C, 35C, two valuers. Why two valuers? That means there will be two fair value, there will be two liquidation value. Please look at 35.1c. Please look at 35.1c, and the average of the value has to be taken and shall be considered as fair value or liquidation value. Average. Now here, while averaging the two close estimate, who will do the average? The resolution professional. The average of the two closest estimate of the value shall be considered the fair value or the liquidation value, as the case may be. And here I wish to bring to your kind attention, whether it will be 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, you have an insolvency, IVS, International Valuation Standards Glossary, speaks about the word weight and weighting. I'll come to weighting a little later. There they speak about the reliance placed on a particular indication of value. Maybe I will consider 70% weight for fair value for registered valuer 1 and 30% for registered valuer 2. Now here, if the reliance is very, very weak, please look at this term. If in the opinion, the two estimates are significantly different. One is 500 crore, another is 800 crore. The gap is 300. Maybe, he may be, please look at the word may. It is not must. It is not a condition. The resolution professional can appoint a third registered valuer to get a fair value and the liquidation value. And out of the three, two closest estimates will be taken. Now, that is with respect to registered valuer and also with respect to this. Now, please look at this. This is a strictly time-bound process. Originally 270 days, now extended to 330 days. Now, what has happened? Once this plan is approved, within this 330 days, plan is accepted. Now, what is plan accepting based on registered valuer? For example, the asset value is 500 crores as per the registered valuer. The loan amount is actually 350 crores. Very good. Asset worth is 500 and valuers, the loan liability is only 350. So what else? Should we liquidate and pay? That is not the purpose of IBC. Now, meaning, it means the company is not in an insolvency state, it is in a revival state. I repeat, maybe the process is insolvency process, but that is a resolution stage. So the company is fit and proper to revive. So they will call for plans how to revive this company, and one of the plans will be considered by the COC with 66% majority, and that will be actually implemented after getting the direction from NCLT. Now, once the plan is approved, please look at this. there is a complaint certificate the resolution professional has to file, and in this complaint certificate also there will be a information with respect to registered valuer. What is it? Please look at item number 8, item number 18 and 19. So one place where you will give information is to the resolution professional. Second, resolution professional will share that information electronically to all the committee of creditors only. I repeat, to the committee of creditors only, not even to the resolution applicants who will be giving the plans. And these two information has to be again shared and filed to the NCLT once the plan has been approved by the COC. Please look at item number 18 and 19. Now, please come for the next part. Now, the liquidation part. In liquidation also, there are only two places I am going to share my information. After that, the panel will take up the questions and it will be deliberated. One, which is Regulation 35. And please look at Regulation 35. It is valuation of assets intended to be sold. Now, phase 1 is resolution. Resolution fails. Plan has been brought out. Plan is discussed. But there is huge expectation. For example, the liability is 350. But the plan, the people who are actually proposing, they actually say I can only bring 100, 150 or maximum 200. Maybe the creditors should always have an intention not to realize money. If they have to realize money, they have to go to SARFAESI. They have to kill the company, sell the assets and take their money. But if resolution process, business is first, money is second. Therefore, if resolution doesn't happen, law says, okay, what is the fun in continuing the marriage if you are not happy? Let us divorce it. So Regulation 35, that is the liquidation process. Two things. If the resolution fails, automatically liquidation is triggered. That is called liquidation process. Now, there are companies where they will run for 4, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. They will accumulate profits. And how do you remove the profits out of the company? By paying dividend tax. Now, company, they are not interested to run the company, but company has huge assets. They want to liquidate, take the money by the shareholders. What is the process procedure available? Voluntary liquidation. These are the again two places where registered valuer's name is again mentioned. Now please look at this Regulation 35 where they speak about the same process. The same process shall consider. Now I want to make a point clear here to all of you. Very, very important point. What is that? Already in the resolution process, two valuation has been done. Two registered valuer, they have done the valuation. Now it has gone for liquidation. Now should again a valuation has to be done? Answer is yes, answer is no, both. Please look at the sub-regulation 1. It says, shall consider the average of the estimates of the value. That means, liquidator is at his discretion. If he feels it, yes, already valuation is done 6 months back for resolution purpose, I will take the same. Else, please look at 2, 35.2, where the liquidator is of the opinion, fresh valuation is required. His opinion can be, he can give n number of reasons. For example, post-liquidation, there will be a lot of emotion, commotion, kind of the way the world, the society, business, and the business participants, they look at the business will be different. So, the marketability will differ. Value may increase or decrease also. So, the liquidator is of the opinion. His discretion is final. He can go for a fresh valuation. Again appoint 2 more registered valuer to determine the realizable value. Please look at this word. This word is different. This word is realizable value. And after physical verification of the asset, there also physical verification of inventory and fixed assets. Here after physical verification of the assets. We were discussing about this in, with IBBI whole-time members and also with chairman also. The scope for valuers. Who should do the valuation? Is it purely L&B? Is it plant and machinery? Is it SFA? This is actually a primitive question. Liquidator is the deciding authority. He needs, there are assets, intangible assets are there, plant and machinery is there, stock is there, debtors are there. I want to make one more point clear to all of you. Liabilities are there, guarantees are there, warranties are there, contract obligations are there. I don't know what will be the implications of this. That is why in latest International Valuation Standards 2020, non-financial liabilities, IVS has brought out a specific standard. IVS has brought out a specific standard for valuation of non-financial liabilities. I repeat, friends, my dear valuers, valuation is not just restricting only to assets. It is also for liabilities. It's high time we should also try to understand, evolve, and also do a lot of work with respect to valuing liabilities also. And here, please look at this. So the liquidation part with respect to voluntary liquidation, with respect to liquidation process, the purpose of two new valuers, it is totally at the discretion of the liquidator. Now, one more last point with that I will close. This is with respect to voluntary liquidation. Please look at this. Voluntary liquidation, company is doing very well. There is no insolvency at all. I repeat, asset value is high, liability is there. It is a solvent company. Can I go for liquidation? Yes. But please look at this pointers here. Here it says, that is regulation 3.1 of voluntary liquidation process. A declaration has to be filed that the company is solvent, along with audited financial statements. Please look at 3.1b1, the last one. 3.1b1, audited financial statements of the previous 2 years. Valuer is now ranked at par with a chartered accountant. Valuer is ranked at par with chartered accountant. The declaration under subclause B shall be accompanied by audited financial statements, a report of the valuation of the assets, if any, prepared by a registered valuer. So all the assets has to be valued, and that valuation report. Please understand, in a liquidation process, only after the liquidation order, the liquidator will decide whether I will take the old values or I will appoint a new 2 more valuers. But with respect to voluntary liquidation, before filing an application in NCLT, the need for a report of the valuer is must. And along with that only the application has to be filed. Now this is with respect to solvency. This is fair value definition. Fair value, liquidation value definition I have picked from 2 places. Ind AS 113 definition as well as International Valuation Standards, the IVS 104 basis of value, para 90.1, both are English wise, both are same. Not even a single word is different. It means the price that would be received for an orderly transaction between market participants. Now please look at liquidation value. 2 places I am going to take. What is liquidation value? 2 places. With this I will conclude, because then after we will go for the panel. 2 places. In both these places, the way the liquidation value has been defined slightly varies. Please look at this. One is an RBI definition. Another one is the IVS definition. In International Valuation Standards 104, in defined basis of value, it is a defined basis of value, liquidation value, para 80.1, speaks like this. Amount that would be realized when an asset or a group of assets are sold on a one by one independent basis, piecemeal basis. Now, I will bring your kind attention to the latest Reserve Bank of India Prudential Framework for Resolution of Stressed Asset Direction 2019. It is dated 7th June 2019, and here also the need for a registered valuer is must. Reserve Bank of India. Now today, banks have been under very big stress. Government has come very clear with clear direction, and RBI has come with this direction that all stressed assets, if the borrower is unable to pay, Give him an opportunity. Why you have to go for surface, sell his assets? Why are you killing him? Better, and why are you going to IBC? Don't go to surface, don't go to IBC. But give him an opportunity to revive, to resolve. Give him a plan. Restructure. Let him restructure. Consolidate, give a plan, and there will be a review period. Bankers will be monitoring. And under this, every bank is having a monitoring cell, review managers, exclusively only for development, for making the stressed asset to work exceptionally well. And they will be monitored periodically. Like for example, after getting a loan, monthly the statements will be given in the form of list of data, list of stock. Here the entire business will be monitored periodically. And in this review period, if they are growing, their restructuring will be acceptable, and they will already been converted. As per this direction, the NPA will be converted to a standard asset, and post review period they will not be reviewed. They have to continue on their own. And in this review period, it's like a hand holding exercise. They will hand hold. What is your difficulty? You want further funds, and further funds will be based on their business requirement. It is not money, it is business first. And bankers have been trained, tuned exclusively for this particular purpose. Please bring your kind attention to the liquidation value. The resolution plan which is submitted to the banker shall provide for payment not less than the liquidation value due to the dissenting lenders. That is the bankers. The liquidation value here means the estimated realizable value of the assets. The estimated realizable value of the asset. Please look at the previous definition. What is the previous? This is the amount that would be realized when an asset is sold on a piecemeal basis. But here, please look at this. This is an estimated realizable value of the asset. Very close similarity of the relevant borrower, if such borrower were to be liquidated as on the date of the review period. Now please look at this. All the previous schemes, SDR, CDR, S4A, everything is withdrawn, discontinued from 7/6. And for your kind information, this is based on the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court of India, that the fundamental principles underlying the regulatory approach for resolution of stressed assets has to be considered. Like early recognition, complete discretion should be given to lenders. I repeat, complete discretion should be given to lenders in designing and implementation of the resolution plan. Lot of scope work is available for the registered valuers, where the borrower has to structure a plan with the help of professionals, restructuring professionals, where valuers form part of it, because they have to give the business value, asset value, and the proposed, and all will be based on income approach, because it's discussing about future. And all the disincentives in the form of additional provisioning will be delayed. So banks this year end, 1920, is going to be a sunrise phase for the entire banking industry. Now, last but not the least, in valuation report, please look at this valuation report. I repeat, in valuation report, IVS 103 also gives what should be included, and Rule 83 also gives what should be included. And if you look at and if you compare Rule 83 of the company's registered valuers and valuation rules 2017, they give A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. 12 points are there. 12 points have to be mandatorily covered. But the international valuation standards, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's all. It's only hardly 7 points. So our rules are much more transparent with respect to expecting information statutorily by the registered valuer. This already I have discussed. I will just share with you before I leave the myths of valuers so far. Okay. मुझे जो सही लगता है मैं करता हूँ, चाहे वो भगवान से खिलाफ हो, कानून से खिलाफ हो, या पूरे सिस्टम के खिलाफ. This was the approach of valuers. Okay. But henceforth, this is a very beautiful scene from Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, where Farida Jalal, that side we'll have Kajol, and this side Shah Rukh Khan, and Farida Jalal will say, दुनिया में हर एक मोड़ पे दो रास्ता आएगा, एक कठिन रास्ता, एक आसान रास्ता. अगर तुम गलत रास्ते पर चलोगे तो हो सकता है शुरुआत में तुम्हें बहुत कामयाबी मिले, बहुत खुशियां मिले, मगर अंत में तुम्हारी हार होगी. I repeat, National Company Law Tribunal, the days are not far off, where they will summon the registered valuer. First they will summon the RP and the liquidator. On what basis you have done this? He will say, because of the registered valuer. So summon him. So the RV has to give a testimony there. और अगर तुम सही रास्ते पर चलोगे तो भले ही शुरुआत में तुम्हें कदम कदम पर ठोकरें मिले, मुसीबतें का सामना करना पड़े, मगर अंत में हमेशा तुम्हारी जीत होगी. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
That was outstanding, Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju. एक बार जोरों की तालियां हो जाए, please, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now I'll be inviting our chairman of this entire technical session and, of course, the moderator of the panel discussion, Mr. R.K. Patel. But before that, sir, I would request you to allow me for 2 minutes so that, we can kind of cheering people up. Right? Can I have 2 minutes, sir? Thank you. So, did you all enjoy your food? No? But I can see a lot of people are enjoying their nap here. Right. Now, directly or indirectly, you are associated with IOV, right? And now I can see all the winners and the toppers are sitting here. Abhi, Dr. Rao ने जो कहा कि सही गलत अगर सही रास्ता चुनेंगे तो if there are some कठिनाई right now, but at the end of the day, you will find yourself being the winners. And I see all the winners are sitting here. तो winners का sound क्या होता है? नहीं. Some more creativity? Winner का sound कैसा होता है? That's very energetic. I'll tell you कैसे होता है. Sachin, 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 Sachin. होता है winner का sound ये? होता है? आप सुनिए ये वाला. IOV, 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 IOV. Can we do it together? 1, 2, 3, start. IOV, IOV. सिर्फ मेरी ही मतलब I get paid, sir. मुझे आपकी आवाज चाहिए और मैं चाहती हूँ कि ये जो स्पीकर में आवाज आ रहा है ना, आपका आवाज उससे ज्यादा हो जाए. Can we start it once again? 1, 2, 3, start. IOV, 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 IOV. नहीं हो रहा सर. IOV. Sir, all together, all the valuers, jago. The entire country, valuation. The economic system is depending on you. You have to wake up. 1, 2, 3, start. IOV, 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 IOV. A big round of applause for yourself. थोड़ा सा लेट हो गया सर. So 3 cheers for IOV, hip hip. थोड़ा सा मतलब मुझे लग रहा है कि खाना वाना होने के बाद एकदम फ्रेश. आपका क्या हुआ सर? 3 cheers for IOV, hip hip. 3 cheers for IOV, hip hip. Thank you very much. Enjoy the session, and now I would request Mr. R.K. Patel to please come over and say a few words. He is chairing the entire session, and please put your hands together for Mr. Patel. So,
Thank you. First of all, let me thank IOV and all the participants who love me. They have listened to me a number of times. And some of them said me that we are waiting for your session. I'm again thankful to IOV. They have given me the dual role today to chair the session, at the same time to moderate. As all of you know that IBC 2016 was enacted before valuation rules were brought in. And in those rules, it was said that valuation will be done by the registered valuers under Companies Act. At that time, there were no registered valuers. Really registered valuers were started registering with the IBVI sometimes after January 2018. So valuations were carried out under IBC 2016, and at that time RPs were appointing the valuers, not registered valuers under Companies Act, but whoever valuers available at the relevant time. But IBVI notified somewhere in December 2018 saying that no valuer will be appointed who is not the registered valuer under the Companies Act after 1/2/2019. By that time, IBVI had enough number of registered valuers to take up at least the business of valuations under IBC 2016. Under IBC 2016, there are 2 valuers to be appointed within 7 days, as Mr. Raju has said. Within 7 days of his appointment as RP. So naturally, there is no tender process. It's a choice of RP. And these registered valuers will give the valuation as on commencement of resolution process. Commencement of resolution process is the date on which NCLT orders, Mr. Raju, NCLT orders that particular company is, or proposal of a company is approved to go under resolution or liquidation. So, valuation is to be given as on date of commencement of resolution, commencement of resolution proceedings. That is, maybe the date on which resolution professional is appointed. Naturally, the IBC provides that first priority will be to resolve the sick company or insolvent. Resolve in the sense, give it an oxygen, infuse the money, find out the prospective buyer who can revive this insolvent, so that the national asset is not lost, is not losing the value. Secondly, the valuer is required to give the liquidation value at the same time. And these definitions have already been given under IBC 2016. So, one is the going concern value, that is what we say is the fair value, and second is the liquidation value. In going concern, there are various aspects to be considered. What are those? That the assets will be utilized at the same place, and somebody is going to run it in a efficient manner. Maybe after restructuring the debt, or bank creditors may take some kind of a haircut. And if at all resolution plan does not work, then COC will consider the plans put up by the resolution professional with the recommendation whether it is to be adopted or not. And if COC decides that yes, it cannot be resolved, then it is recommended for liquidation. So two values, fair value and liquidation value, is determined at the first instance. Problem arises that sometimes this liquidation value is taken as a base, and when the bids are invited, the price quoted may be too high compared to the liquidation value given. And sometimes fair value is not fetched. That are also the cases. So the valuers and valuations importance is very high under the IBC 2016. And that's why the theme of this session is role of valuations for resolution and liquidation. Once liquidation proceedings start, again two valuations, and if two valuations are not close or very widely different, in that case there will be a third valuation. And this third value, then out of three, average of two closest values will be taken as a base. So role of valuers is very, very important in the resolution process. If you see the whole IBC 2016, RP is following the compliances on which day he will advertise and invite for the claims, on which day he will appoint, on which day he will constitute the COC, Committee of Creditors, on which day he will submit call the meeting of the COC and chair it, by which date he has to resolve in the COC whether resolution plan or recommendation for liquidation. But his role is also important. The way he has to run the company if it is going concern. If it is closed, then also he has the duty to see the technical aspects, financial aspects, running the business, arranging for the interim finance required, and all these things. But all the decisions, whether it is resolution or liquidation, are based on the values given by the registered valuers. Otherwise, the whole process fails. So all registered valuers are required to understand the importance of valuations under IBC 2016. And some of the valuation reports which I have seen submitted by the valuers earlier, now scenario has changed. Still they used to fill up the form O1, giving the fair realizable value, fair market value, then realizable value after deducting certain percentage. After deducting certain percentage from realizable value, they give the distress value. I don't think there is a definition of distress value under IBC 2016 and not in IBC, IVS also, International Valuation Standards as well. So we valuers have been using the terms loosely. In one of the reports I read, most lovable value. So we all valuers have to be careful while using the terms, and for that we have to thoroughly study under which rules and regulations we are giving the valuations. IBC, we have to follow International Valuation Standards. Even we give the valuation report under IBC 2016, we can still say that we have followed the International Valuation Standards, but with certain departures, disclosures. Correct? Because IBC 2016 is a specific statute for insolvency proceedings. Whereas IVS 2017 or International Valuation Standards, they are most general and it can be applied for any kind of valuations. Lot of valuation aspects are not discussed in IBC 2016. It doesn't discuss about the valuation methods. It doesn't discuss about the valuation method. But somewhere in between lines, it has very clearly said that what would be the approach and what would be the method. In resolution proceedings, what it says that it should be valued as a going concern liquidation. Going concern liquidation. I don't refer the sections and all these things, but let us discuss the principles. Going concern liquidation. Going concern liquidation means the business is sick. Still it is running. Assets are running. There is also revenue generation. There are also expenditures. But before it dies, let us resolve it. Let us revive it. And in that case, going concern liquidation value gains the importance. It is nothing. In that case, we tangible asset valuers have to have the approach of some kind of income as well. Okay. Asset valuers have to be very careful. They don't have to see only the asset, but there are a lot of intangibles attached thereto. They have to see the potential of putting it into highest and best use. Even IBC 2016 doesn't say about the highest and best use. What it says? To improve the value to the stakeholders. It means the same thing, highest and best use. So it's a valuer's duty to find out how we can put it in highest and best use and avoid erosion of the worth of the assets. Plant and machinery. Plant and machinery, maybe business may be closed. It is not running. But still it can be revived by some kind of modifications, some kind of change in product line, and that is nothing but the approach of highest and best use. So first and foremost duty of the valuer to see whether it can be put in better use and to create some kind of value to the stakeholders and avoid the erosion of worth of the assets. In that case, the valuers are required to understand what additional expenditures are required to bring the assets into usable and marketable form and factor for the value while doing the valuation. When you go for liquidation, what general meaning under IVS 2016 is something different. What it says that assets are sold in piecemeal and whatever you can realize it. But IBC 2016 says that it will be orderly liquidation and forced liquidation. So first comes orderly liquidation. Either you can sell the assets as such as is varies. Somebody will take the advantage and he will put it in the same use or may take up at some other place and then reinstall somewhere else and all these things. And if at all it is not possible, liquidate as a scrap. This is what it says. So valuers have to consider that at which stage he is doing the valuation. Simply filling the form just like we are giving in the banks will not help. And RP. Initial stages, I also understand that IPs were not clear about what kind of values they need. Even they were not guiding the valuers that what valuation they need. They say we need the valuation, and people used to give the form O1 as they give in the banks. But that will not go any long. After 1/2/2019, only registered valuers will give the valuations under the 2016s, and we will be penalized under the Companies Act if we have done the wrong valuation and we have not followed the generally accepted valuation practices. And one thing we have to remember that IVS 2016 says, and we have to follow the international valuation standards as per the Companies Act. It also says Then when there is a local statute in force and under which you are going to the valuation, then whatever definitions and procedures and methodologies prescribed under that statute will prevail. Because you are giving for that specific statute here, IBC 2016. So, we have to be careful, and number of RPs have received the notices from IBBI saying that why you have appointed a particular entity, whereas it is notified that individual is to be appointed. And some individuals also, they had some kind of private limited company or something like that, and they have received the order on that name and issued the reports on that letterhead. And they are also questioned by IBBI. This is just a starting after 6 months of 1/2/2019. Tomorrow days are not far that our valuation reports will go under scrutiny, and we may be asked to defend our valuations. So it's a great responsibility before the valuers under resolution and liquidation proceedings. So this is the threat. But at the same time, there are opportunities. There are opportunities to learn something. Let us improve ourselves. Go to the stage that, yes, whatever valuations, and in the earlier session you have seen, you are giving your opinion, but you are certifying that you have carried out the valuations as per international valuation standards. Yes. So, these two things are not contradictory, but supplementing each other. You are giving opinion does not mean that you loosely give the opinion. बाद में देखा जाएगा. It is not like that. Because we are also asked to follow the international valuation standards. Because we are appointed under IBC as a registered valuer, registered under the Companies Act. And we are also bound by the rules made under the Companies Act 2013. So there are a lot of opportunities. And once you are registered under Companies Act 2013, most of the stakeholders are likely to utilize these valuers in future, because this is highly regulated valuation profession now. But this doesn't end here. We have to have the continuous improvement in our profession. We have to have a lot of trainings, continuous education, specialized courses to be organized by IOV and IOVRVF and other RVOs. Specific courses, because when we talk about the going concern liquidation value, I think unless you have some kind of a financial inclination, it's very difficult to give that kind of valuation. So those kind of specialized courses will also be required. Not only that, how to review the valuation report and to adopt it, RPs do need the training. So lot of work required ahead. With these words, I now open the session for open discussion, and from chairman's role, I will switch over to moderator's role. So with this background, let me start with and open up the questions to the panelists. I think I will stand here, no problem, no? Yeah, okay. So I will start with RP and valuer Abhay. What is valuation for resolution and liquidation, and why there is a need for valuation? Can it not happen without valuation? And other panelists also later on join.
First, let me go back to the position in the statute. A statute very clearly talks about liquidation value, the purpose of the liquidation value. But it doesn't talk about purpose of the fair value. Because liquidation value is linked with that operational creditor and a financial creditor who has not voted in favor of the resolution, they should at least get the minimum amount which is guaranteed in the under liquidation state. So there it is guaranteed. Means a company going for a resolution should not go below the resolution liquidation value. Whereas there is nothing written about the fair value. So that is one gray point there. And what I am finding in many of the cases, I am associated with many RPs, that nowadays, if COC agrees, then resolution happens just above the liquidation value. So liquidation value is essential as per the statute. Fair value, still it's a gray area.
What do you want to say?
Then as he says,
Can we go without liquidation value under this? Because RP can go again, no?
without liquidation.
Without any valuation? Can he go for resolution?
See, that is the main crux. Actually, as per IBC, the valuation is very, very essential part, wherein we are supposed to estimate the fair value and liquidation value. So this is the most critical thing. Each and every valuer has to understand and lays whatever knowledge he is having it, because without which, as he is saying, we can be sued upon. The valuer has to correctly assess the liquidation value and the fair value, without which any resolution process cannot go ahead. So again, gray area is, as he says, fair value is another area. Another point is that the liquidation value arrived by the valuers is again, they just do like a bank valuation, 75%, 85%. Again, that is another point you need to understand. It's not just a percentage. You have to go into the breakup of the arrive at the, what is the cost, remove the soft cost, remove the, what are the other expenses, and arrive at it to arrive at the resolution or the liquidation value. So that will be a very, very crucial point the valuer has to undertake.
Good. But what happens, why I am asking this question? Why I am asking this question? Because in a lot of cases, I have heard and I have experienced as well, RP says that I want this much value.
I want
This much value.
this much.
So if he is saying like this, I think he knows what value is. Okay. What do you want to say? Sachin? Yeah.
See, in such, what I am finding in market, many times, I mean, see, if you look at the statute, there again, there is a stress. Act says that RP should maximize his time on resolution. So while we are appointed as a valuer, RP looks for the resolution applicant. So they have a lot of informal talks. And based on that, many times they come and indirectly tell that you please come around this value, or this is what.
Or sometimes they say that, no, one valuer has given this much value, why don't you give around that? So that, no, I can convince this COC easily.
Yeah.
Sir, the idea here is that there are 2-3 questions, which we have opened up. First is that what is the relevance of fair value? Fair value in context of IBC is an aspiration of the COCs that they should expect, but the market forces might not be conducive enough that the asset will fetch you that value. And that is the reason why we have a concept of liquidation value. Liquidation value is most crucial in IBC process because there is a concept of dissenting creditors which needs to be paid off at not less than the liquidation value. So these two aspects are very critical from the perspective of IBC. Coming to your point that RPs many times suggest you, indicate you, want to have informal meetings with you. I mean, so if you want to maintain the sanity of the process, the RP has to be very clean in his dealings. Because RP is the one who knows both sides of the table, because he's the one who is running the company, he's the one who is running the process for the valuations. At the same time, he's responsible for getting the resolution applicant for the company. Now, you're absolutely correct that he is aware of what the values are and he wants to shorten his process without getting into much debate with the COCs. He doesn't want to call for the third valuations. And that is where, you know, the entire process of valuation
I understand.
gets compromised.
From your discussion, saying that we have to be in close discussions with the IPs. Am I right?
I am not suggesting that. It is our responsibility. You yourself are responsible for your profession. And whatever number you're signing off, you yourself have to defend it. So I'm not suggesting you that you should.
One thing is clear from Sachin and others, that whatever we do, we are responsible for our valuations.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
I think let us take this. And before I start further, I request the audience that you jot down your question, send it here. Whatever has been discussed, I will remove those questions, and rest of the questions I will try to answer through our panels. Mr. Pichaiya, you have worked very high on international valuation standards, and you have studied TEGOVA and RICS and then ASA's valuation standards and all these things, no? Can you throw light on liquidation value and what we say fair value under similar kind of bankruptcy laws in other countries and in particular India? Okay, please.
See, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, IOV, and my dear fellow valuers. It's a great privilege to be addressing such a large gathering of learned valuers, experienced valuers, and eminent people. And the question Mr. R.K. Patel has raised is very relevant from the current point of view when we are thinking of going to the next level of profession in valuation. And we also hope to do cross-border valuations and maybe insolvency valuations in countries outside India. So these are the future vision for all of us. So there is going to be tremendous scope which is coming out like that. So it is important that we know this IBC law as it is what is now passed in India. And the preamble itself says that there are three issues. The preamble, I think all of you know what the preamble of an act, of a statute is that value maximization is one of the essences of the act. And number two is a reorganization and resolution in a time-bound manner. And the third one is stakeholder interest. So all these things are clubbed with the valuation of the relevant asset. So all these things, value maximization or reorganization or resolution, and the next one is now stakeholder interest. All these are clubbed with only value. So valuation becomes the central point of IBC. And in fact, as Mr. Patel was telling, that I was, since I was associated with, this valuation committee, which goes into the standards. Now, it's a very big challenge because all the members of the committee, at the beginning, they had a very not a very encouraging opinion about valuers. So everyone said, no, if two valuers give a report, one is about 1 crore, other man's report is around 2 crores. Why you people don't have standards? So this is the starting point of the formulation of the standards when I was there. So all of them, and most of them are bureaucrats and of course from the fellow professional organizations. And I think all of you know that IOV is the only RVO to be represented in the committee in the country. So I had a bigger role to play because I had to convince the committee. I have to first, ensure that the standards are, made easier for compliance in India and it should be relevant in India. So I started reading so much of information on standards. And I think, as all of you know, IVS has been made as a mandatory standard for IOVRVF members. So we need to follow IOVRVF, IVS in all our valuations, especially when it comes to Companies Act, because the Act specifically wants us to follow the globally accepted standards. So when it comes to liquidation, the first point is why evaluation is required under the, that is a question what. The first point, all of us must understand that IP is given a very big responsibility to resolve the issue. And ultimately, if it cannot be resolved, it has to be, the asset has to be liquidated. And we all should understand that IPs do not have any kind of, we can't say that they know everything, especially when it comes to value. They lack the knowledge about valuation because they are not competent. So first thing is when he is supervising or heading the liquidation, he should know that he is not competent. So only a valuer can give a liquidation value, and value maximization is the primary essence of the IBC. And IBC mandates that it has to be done. That is point number one. And anyway, as the discussion goes on, I'll again.
Okay, good. I had informal discussions with number of RVs, and some of them said that we are afraid to take the valuations under IBC 2016. We all are, I think, valuers, okay? 3, 4, 5, all are registered valuers. So I would like to know that what was your first experience and how we can break the that threat the people have. Okay, please.
I will.
So,
Hi. Thanks everybody here. I would just like to say is that being a valuer, or we have been following IVS for the last 2 years, and prior to that also we have been doing that. There's a very famous saying is, Jack of all trades, master of none. But as a valuer, we are considered as master of everything. So being afraid is that, yes, because now we are answerable to every question that may arise tomorrow if the process, RP process goes wrong. And it may come down maybe 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line. So that was the only fear. So getting into valuation is very important. At the same time, we should be doing something which is specializing a thing, because a valuation today might be doing for a steel industry. Tomorrow we might be doing for something for an electronic industry. So we have to work on that how we have to do the valuation. If we have that kind of methodology, then I think we do our work rightly, I don't think we have anything to fear about, and we'll be able to do the justice to our job.
See, so far, we have been doing valuations for banks mostly, and then income tax or capital gain and so on. So when it comes to bank, it was I think all of us know it had its own pitfalls and advantages. But when it comes to IBC, I think when you go through the the statute and the various rules, and I think some of you would have attended the seminar conducted in Delhi, where Mr. Sahu addressed in the month of August. So what the regulator expects out of the, from the valuation profession. So he said that, it came from horse's mouth. He said that value is no more an estimate. Value is no more an estimate, especially under the Companies Act or IBC. See, when it comes to IBC, there are 4 values or 5 values what Mr. Patel has already discussed. Oh, I think he has talked about fair value as a going concern, liquidation value as a going concern, orderly liquidation, post-sale, highest and best use. So there are possibilities of 5 or 6, 5 values as of today. And all these values are market-based values. The base is market. I think if you if you're conversant with IVS, the base for this, all these 5 values is market. So what the regulator expects is that you are supposed to find out what price the market will discover when it goes into either a CIRP, a resolution or a liquidation. So you are supposed to discover the price. Market actually discovers the price. And the market is not always perfect. Market always behaves in its own manner. So many factors are there. There are imperfect markets always in many countries, especially in a country like India. The market is not perfect. So you do not know the basic rules of economy doesn't apply there. So the discovery of price by the market, how we are going
Mr.
to
Pichaiya,
find it
it's
out, yes.
okay. I think this is the method and what evidence is and what the records we should have and keep to defend our valuation. Basic is that how we can break the threat most of the valuers have before accepting the valuations under IBC 2016.
You want to mean the threat?
Yes.
So I can.
They should, let me reply. Do you want to reply? Please.
So most of the people, the practicing professionals, the threat they have is that, the case is in NCLT. So the RP is appointed by the NCLT and there's a proper process of appointment of a valuer. Most of my friends, valuer friends, have asked me that what is the legal implication of doing a valuation under IBC? Do we need to go to the court? Do we need to go to the court to defend our valuations? This is the fear which most of the people have. So to answer this question, I would want to tell you that now things have changed a lot. It is no more a brick mortar valuation which you are doing. The application of mind has to be to an extent where you are more than confident of what value you are arriving. The valuation reports which you are writing has to be very elaborative. It has to be detailed, whatever your findings are, whatever your observations are, and your report should be self-explanatory. As long as your report is self-explanatory, there is no need to fear, and this is actually the valuation work. You should take it up because this is what the real valuation is. This is where you will be applying your mind more than assigning the value.
I think, Sachin, is very clear from your talk and Mr. Pichaiya's talk that if we follow systematically and follow the valuation standards, methodologies, and then collect proper evidences, information, I think there is no need to afraid. Okay, there is no need to afraid. On the contrary, we can go by confidence.
In fact, I think this should be an opportunity. See, we got an opportunity. Until now, I am sure that we all the valuers here, 80% or 90% of the valuers here, you are all depending upon the bank valuation. See, now this opportunity has been given to you. You need to be using this opportunity to earn and see that, this is, as he says, you just can't do some critical valuation. You need to take the expertise, if at all, if need be. So if you are all in a systematic way, if you are able to do it, I think this should be a blessing in disguise. In fact, we should say that we got another opportunity, other window opened for us.
I think better we improve our competence. I think
on a lighter note, the first fear is, will we be getting our fees in time or not? That is one of the major things which everybody has.
I think our valuers were doing valuations for resolution earlier also. Because there were the restructuring schemes, under which they were doing the valuations. I think they have to revive again, but refine. Okay, good. So, now, Mr. Raju, I have a question for you. See, when you have a resolution, you are appointed as a IRP or RP, what you do and how you select the valuers, how you approach them, okay, what information you provide them, and what kind of offers you ask them to submit to you, and within what time. I think our audience will be interested to know that.
Chairman ji, you have given easy question to them and very difficult to me. How to choose a registered valuer? If I am in Chennai, I will prefer, I may not prefer a valuer from Bombay or Delhi or from Belgaum or Bellary. I may prefer only Chennai. So my first, these are not codified, these are not written anywhere, but these are all the convenience. So that is why I use the word in my, when I was presenting, that it is a discretion of the insolvency professional. So number one, I may want the list of the valuers. It is already there, 2000 plus valuers are there. You can convert to an Excel, filter it, and pin code wise you can find out who are all the valuers very near to you. So this is what the first homework I will do. Second, out of this I will find out maybe I'll see their surname and first name who closely matches with me and their nearness to my pin code. This is my next. Third, I may ask my seniors and my friends who are all out of this list who are known to them. These are all the methodologies already we follow. There is no codified one, and only as per the convenience, nearness, closeness, comfort, very other positive words you can put to it. This is what it has been used. And ultimately the time is the essence. And within the limited time, I have to contact them, get the response from them, and get a commitment from them that they are comfortable to take this assignment.
Good, good. I think he has very clearly answered. And there is a list of RPs and IPs available on website of IBBI. I think we should take out that and send our profiles to RPs, say that, okay, we are competent to these kind of jobs and all these things, and most of the RPs are keeping the records, I understand. Okay?
I want to actually add, all these years, the valuers used to be docile, very soft. They used to only interact among the valuers. But now the time has come where we need to have a intra-connectivity among the valuers. That is number one. That is among plant and machinery, land and building, and securities and financial assets. Number two, we must also go beyond domains and interact, especially with board of directors, where the forums are there where directors are members. Forums are there where insolvency professionals are members. These forums, as valuers, we need to be part of it, associate, and then interact. Thereby, we are networked appropriately.
Sir, are you paying them properly? Fees.
It's a very, actually given a chance to me, I want to sit there and ask chairman this question, but thank you for giving me this opportunity. Fee is something which is subjective, and I believe that is the last word I put, let's value it. Our service is very valuable. I will make one point very clear. Without the fair value or liquidation, fair value is also secondary. Liquidation value, without liquidation value, deciding on the resolution plan is not possible as per law. And law gives the valuer, protects the valuer with respect to his fees. The only thing is you need to, we need to actually sell ourselves. We need to value ourselves that our report is very, very vital. And most important, we need to network among us very closely that if I quote 75,000, if my friend quotes more than that, I must be very happy for it, that my friend has got it. It is not otherwise, that I will try to quote it much less and try to get it. RPs will say, because they are stressed companies, that RV is actually quoting at 10 less, why not you do it? That RV is actually quoting at 30% of what you are quoting. Let us not go by all this. We know who the registered valuer is, And it is among us, we need to be closely knit, that work has to come only to us. It cannot go beyond that. And law has protected the registered valuer that the fee has to be paid legally. We need to get the appointment per se from the insolvency professional with the fees, and our fee is protected. Nobody can say no to it.
But in most of the discussions we had on roundtable or institutional framework, lot of valuers raised the questions that there should be some kind of a floor price for valuation and maybe some kind of maximum slab. And still, lot of RVs, and of course, IBBI has clearly said that they are not going to come on the way of fee structure. It will be market driven, okay? So question arises to number of valuers that how to calculate the fees for a particular case. I think Sachin, you are there, and then Mr. Johar, you are there, and even Apparao also is there, and I'm also there, of course.
So the calculation of fees is basically done on what is the engagement and how many man hours will be required, So generally what we do that we understand that how many man hours would be required for a person who does the surveying in our company. Then how many man hours would be required for a superior to find out, collate the data and analyze the data. And third level is where the reports are prepared. So the quantum of man hours required for preparation of a valuation is what the basic underlying calculation should be to arrive at your fee quote. So there are multiple locations where the assignments are there. So there are multiple plants, you have to travel. So you need to factor in all these things. And then only you can be justified in calculation of your fee structure. Of course, there are certain instances where to build your capacity, to have that experience in that particular industry, there might be certain discounts which you have to apply. But largely, I agree that the fee should be market driven. And we should not have any floor price because we would be degrading our profession by having a floor price to our profession.
That's too good. I think we have to value our work. That's all. Very simple. Am I right?
I will add to this is what Sachin has said is very right, that we should be looking at the fees based on the assignment. It cannot be firm price for any kind of assignment that this is our base price. It should be on the man-hour basis. And at times we might have to put in more specialists into a particular assignment. Their costs have to be built in, and all these will add up to some kind of fees. And of course, I would have done for one particular type of industry, and if it is coming repeatedly again, we can give a discounting to that. But it should not be, and what Dr. Rao said is that, yes, we should not be in competition with each other. Each other means that we should not be cutting down the prices. We should not be putting down very low prices just to get the work. We should be giving very value to our work, and it should be properly guided on.
Mr. Johar, Mr. Johar, you are insurance surveyor also, okay, and also doing the valuations, large valuations and large insurance claims. Don't you think that the fee structure of insurance surveyors is better than valuations?
At times it depends. See, again in insurance, we don't have any kind of choice because their fees is already regulated. Regulated means that they have already put up a fees that this kind of claims will have a certain kind of fees. But at the same time, valuation, it is up to us how we do it. And if I am to do a valuation of a particular assignment, I will not go beyond what it would be below the cost at which it will be costing it to me. If I go down, then it is, yes, then insurance fees are better. But if I go what is rightly due to me, insurance fees, valuation fees are better.
So valuation fees are better, okay. But I have seen that lot of plant and machinery valuers, they are insurance surveyors as well.
Pardon?
Most of the plant and machinery valuers are insurance surveyors as well.
Yeah, maybe,
good.
yes. Most of the valuers do the insurance valuations also, yes. Insurance loss adjusting also.
Now, suppose we are appointed as a registered valuer, and for what kind of documents, information you will look from RP? Mr. Abhay?
Of course, there is a long list, and depending upon assignment, since I am a plant and machinery valuer. So most of the time I have a good fight with the RP in getting the information. I have done close to 25 plus valuation of IBC in last 6-7 months. And there are very few cases, 1 or 2 cases where I could get all the information, and that too depending upon the company. If it's a good company, you will get all the information. Otherwise, the biggest struggle is to get the FAR, fixed asset register. Once the fixed asset register you get it, your half of your work is done there. Apart from that, many things which we forget to ask, that regulatory clearances, whether environmental clearance is there or whether factory license is there, all those documents are again very important. Then about the, one of the cases what I found, I was about to complete my valuation and then suddenly I realized the factory, one unit of the factory situated on a particular land doesn't belong to that company. And it's running for a number of years. And
So
those
here
are the
question
related-
arises that whether the registered valuer is responsible to do the technical due diligence and financial due diligence and legal due diligence?
No, this is not a legal. At least they should share with you if it is a lease document. And lease document is for the longer duration. What we have to see that whether in that position, that asset can be transferred to the other resolution applicant.
Can be transferred or not? Yeah.
That is the point we have to check it.
Please, Apparao wants to say something.
I'll just add one more point to it. When the point of land and buildings has come, actually we have come across a case wherein this is a big chunk of land of around 250 acres. The plant is set up in almost 25 odd acres. The rest is all appurtenance land. And when we have gone in deep into getting the details about the land and they were not sharing about the details, we have come to know that those are all assigned lands. In fact, wherein the company doesn't have a rights over it.
And sometimes in plant and machinery, something is different, no? Assets may be on lease, or sometimes assets is seen healthy from outside, and inside if we go, then motors and generators have been removed.
Nothing may be there. So this is again a very gray area, and wherein our valuer should be, aware of it and put a limitations to our valuation, because that may be the point wherein we cannot arrive at the true fair value or liquidation value.
Now, when we go for going concern liquidation, okay, we may be following number of methods, number of approaches, okay, income approach, cost approach, and market approach, whatever it may be. And Dr. Raju was telling about the weight and weighing, okay. So to give opinion of one value, okay, we will have to give some kind of weightage to each method. Is there any kind of methodology or something like that that valuers can be of help?
So there is no particular documented method or weightage table to what method how much weightage should be given to arrive at a value. It is totally left to the valuer who is examining an asset, that what kind of data is available with him, what is the quality of data available with him, and he, under the circumstances, have to choose the best available method and approach to valuation. So, personally, I am of the opinion that we should not have number of methods and then assign a weightage. It is more to do with what is the credibility of the data and information available in the market. That is, which forms the basis of your valuation.
It's only on quality of data or some kind of analysis also?
So of course, so what happens that the data is the primary step. So once you have a good quality data, then analysis is the resultant which leads to the value. So if you have a good quality data, then definitely, the method which you adopt will be more credible than any other method where the data is not available to you.
When we are going for a valuation or a methodology we have to adopt, or what kind of methodology we have to adopt, of course data is there, and most importantly is the physical inspection. When we go in for a physical inspection, we have to correlate with the FAR, it is there. But mind it, FAR can be cooked up, because FAR will have lot many factors with including the base price, including the pre-operative expenses, or the over invoicing or the under invoicing. So we cannot blindly look into that FAR is the most important data. The physical inspection and the expertise we have to adopt to look into what kind of information is available and what kind of information can be collected from the client or from the client and from the market. Based on all that, we have to do the valuation.
I think one thing is transpired very nicely, that is the physical inspection is must. Am I right?
Physical
So
inspection.
we should not avoid that. If you want to defend your case, physical inspection is must. Once you say that I have personally gone or I have sent some experts or something, I think, because it is not written that it should be personally inspected by the, physically inspected personally by the RV.
It has to be personally inspected, including along with the specialist if required.
Yes, yes.
If required.
No, I
So
think
if required,
physically, it should be physically, no, inspected is there
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
thing. What I personally feel is, depending upon the, you were discussing about the different methods and weightages. I think averaging is not permitted as per IVS, and subjective weighting, not, no, there is no, as Sachin said, there is no hard and fast rule, no, we adopt a fixed percentage or something like that. And normally there will be an intuition for any value, or no, once two values are there, you'll know that, no, somewhere down the line it will strike. See, that kind of intuition, all valuers, no, we have some kind of, intuition, and we lead to that kind of, try to arrive at a, what you call subjective weighting based on that kind of intuition. That is what,
so
even
weightage is
IVS
to be
study.
given, not the average, okay? But I am a smart valuer. I have followed two methods. I will say one method I am giving weightage 50% and another method 50%.
You have to justify that. You can't simply say 50.
Okay, and three methods then 33% each.
No, I think I'm gone are the
Anyway,
days, no?
but one has to analyze. The fact is that one has to analyze and give the due weightage to the method he has followed, okay, in a scientific
I
manner.
would say that weightage is one thing, but at the same time, we have to do is all three or two or whatever, or single method we have adopted, we should be giving value on single method and compare it with the other methods. And then finalize it that this is the method what we are adopting.
Okay, now 2-3 more questions. Okay, sometimes we come across the, I think, land building, halfway the project has been left. Half constructed and half completed. I think it is a very difficult situation whether somebody will revive or not. Under that circumstances, how as a valuer you will deal with?
Such things, actually, there are, we need to assess it, what is the total cost which has been incurred as on the date. So that has to be arrived at it by taking any TV reports are there, what are the project reports are there, and to arrive at it, we have to estimate the total, what are the completed as on the date, and arrive at it.
I think we should be a good project manager.
Project manager.
Okay, good.
I think
would like to add here-
more importantly, whether the structure is really sound enough. Sometimes all these structures which are halfway down could have deteriorated. I think you have to do something now before appropriate testing procedures are available, use the technology and find out whether the structure is strong enough to be, completed.
That as well applies to plant and
I would
machinery.
want to add here, what is more critical here is to understand what is the applicable development control regulation on the date of valuation. If the construction has stopped in between, there is a possibility that under the current regulations, the structure is not up to the mark and it is better to bring it down and construct it new. So under those circumstances, we have to examine that aspect also. But in case there are no changes to the development control regulation, the utility, the design concept still
we have to do
prevails
the
and
costing.
it is up to the preference. We can take it forward from that perspective.
Dr. Raju, what you expect from the valuer when you appoint him, that what kind of technical due diligence you want him to do, or some kind of, let us say, that compliance requirements, like whether he has followed pollution control board norms and all things. Do you expect valuer to look into that?
My view is valuer has to do the job which I have given to him. That's all.
Good.
The entire
Whatever,
responsibility of all the compliance,
Yes.
even the law stipulates, environmental compliance. For example, the insolvency professional, resolution professional says, intellectual property, you value and give me the value. Should I have to ask him who is the owner of this intellectual property?
But
Sometimes he will be...
sometimes what happens, no, people are facing the problem that land is on lease and lease that document is not available. It is not the RP's duty to provide that?
That has to be very clearly mentioned in his valuation report. Due diligence with respect to ownership, with respect to the owning of it, all those things have not been
I
considered.
think we valuers should ask all these documents.
Scope
from
have
RPs.
to be very, very clearly. Even the international valuation standards, we have a separate standard on scope. Scope has to be communicated. The word that is used in the standard is scope has to be communicated, and in the scope you have to be very clear what is the role that has been assigned by the RP to the valuer.
But most of the scopes defined by the RPs, what I have read, they say that valuation is to be carried out under regulation number 35, 1 and 2 and something, and then that's all.
See, I just want to add one point. It's more related to IBC. And as per the statute, we should go. So in fact, RP should not question the value. It's very clearly written what they have to do it. They have to appoint 2 independent registered valuer. And if their values are very different, then they have to go for a third one. Nowhere it says that you have to go through their report and find out what is the lacuna where he has not fulfilled what. That is not because RPs are not competent to do that. So let's not, my suggestion is let's not open this. We are fighting on this many times.
Good.
With the RPs.
So one question arises from your answer, that what is the legal position of valuation when it goes to approval of a plan by NCLT, maybe resolution plan or liquidation plan? What will be the legal position of valuations given by us, by registered valuers? Is he required to go to NCLT to defend his valuation report?
No, definitely no. I'll tell you when the situation will arise. For example, there is a plan for 200 crores which will be pumped into the company, and there is an investor. And the liability is some 400 crores and the asset value is some 500 crores. So asset value is 500 crores, liability is 400, money what has been brought out is 200, and the company has to revive and then it has to go forward. Maybe I will allocate a 50%, 100 crore or maybe even 150 crore for working capital. What is available is only 50 crore. And if the committee of creditors are ready to part with that 50 crore pari passu proportionate and they agree, okay, whatever money that has come, it is fine. And if this is not possible because availability of plans is only 1, 2 or 3 or minimum number of plans are there. And people who are upfront giving the money, throwing the money on the table is only 1 or 2. And COC has to consider, based on the business criteria, they have considered this is the best plan. And once they have decided, it is fine. And 200 is the money that has been brought in. And you have the valuation given by the liquidation value is almost more than the debt value. And there, the possibility is there. What is it? The value is very high. You are actually offering only 200 and you are asking for a stakes in the company close to 80%, 90%. That is the time the valuer's value will be very, very critical. You are offering 200 crores and you are going to take away the cream of the company worth 80% or 90%. So therefore this plan is not it is not viable. It has to be, the money has to be brought in more. So that is where the valuer's figure will be very critical, and business decisions are based on valuer's report.
Okay, good. Good. So identification of the property, whose responsibility? Last question.
Yeah.
And then I will start the audience question.
Oh, this is fun, especially for land and building, maybe even for plant and machinery. We have heard several stories from registered valuers. I think you yourself will have your own story. So there are many issues with regard to identification of the property when it comes to lands. In fact, last week we had one RV who was discussing with me that there were the borrower was the debtor was a windmill company. About 50 windmill sites in 27 revenue villages. 50 windmill sites in 27 revenue villages. So just imagine the plight of the valuer. I think the IBC is clear on that. The interim resolution proportion, section 18 of the Act says, interim resolution professional shall perform the following duties, namely, in that to collect all information relating to the assets and all that, take control and custody of any asset over which the corporate debtor has ownership rights. So he has to take custody. Custody means he has to take possession of the property. And then, rights as recorded in the balance sheet of the corporate debtor or with the information utility or the depository of securities or any registry that records the ownership of assets. So it's very important. So it is obvious and clear that the IP has to identify the property.
That's good.
And the valuer has no role.
IP has to identify the property, okay?
And
he
if you accept
is
the
required to give the required documents which has an effect on valuation. Am I right?
If you take up that responsibility, even though it is not binding on you, better do due diligence.
Now I will quickly,
use the revenue officials.
please. Now we are overrunning the time. So I will quickly go through the questions. No, if you have not given, I will not give you a chance, okay? That's enough now. We have enough questions. And I will go very fast. When I speak the name of the question setter, please raise your finger. I will read out the question so that we save the time. TC Narsim Navasina. Yes, please. His question is that IP is asking to quote the fees before inspection of the property and providing any other information. I think you have to see that what property has done and you discuss with RP and then accordingly you quote. Quoting blindly, you may be in trouble. That is the answer. Okay, good. P. Madhu, who has to certify the going concern value for IBC cases, either land and building or plant and machinery or financial asset valuers? Madhu? Yes, okay, good. Do you want to answer or I answer? I answer, let me be the first, okay. Yeah? We are not certifying the value, first of all, remember that, okay. We are opining the value, but what we are certifying that we have followed all the generally accepted valuation practices. Clear? So we will certify, but what will certify? We will certify that we have followed all the generally accepted valuation practices and followed the valuation standards, but we are not certifying the value, we are giving the opinion, okay? Manish Agrawal, registered valuer and CA. Does IBC 2016 talks about the business valuation or asset valuation? It talks about asset valuation. Business valuation, there is no word there. Okay? Clear? Yes. Can income approach be applied in IBC cases and in how many cases? It is case-to-case basis. When you are working out the going concern liquidation value, you may be required to follow the income approach. Clear? If you want to add something, you can, please. Because I am being forced to clear very fast. Registered, A.V. Manjunath, registered valuers should be independently appointed, not from the, by the IPs. I think the question is ruled out because IBC 2016 clearly says that he is to be appointed by the RP, okay? We cannot. That act is to be amended in the parliament. Mohit Mehta, please, Mr. Manjunath, please, because law clearly says if we have to amend the law, we have to go to the parliament. Okay. Okay. Mohit Mehta, insertion in section 2014 247, registered valuers in companies rules 2000 is defined. Yes, he is defined very clearly. Valuers means a person registered with the authority and registered valuer entity as a listed on IBBI website is not defined in the rules. See, under any act, the authority has the powers to define the rules. Okay? So I have answered Mr. Mehta. Yeah. Chandrasekhar Saini, please. As discussed, valuation and valuation report is to be prepared as per the IBC 2016 and IVS 2017. Can we get the copy of IBC 2016? The IBC 2016 and IVS 2017, they are available on website. Yes. is method of appointment of RP that pick and choose according to the, without considering skill, cannot be. Bhavin Patel, again same, what he said that can 3 directors having equal share, or 33% individual one company, how is the subsidiary and subsidiary company of any or associate company of any company be appointed as a valuer? I think it is very clearly said that entity or company is not to be appointed. Direct, and if you have an entity registered, then they should have a minimum 2 or 3 directors, all should be registered valuers. What is the role of IP, this Amrut Lamne, what is the role of IP after restructuring a company? I think this has been discussed. Darshana Gajjar, my last question was unattended. Okay, definitely we'll answer just now. To follow IVS, unless Indian valuation standards comes, it is written in the Companies Act also, unless the Indian valuation standards come in force, international valuation standards or valuation standards adopted by any of the RVO to be followed. But what is the way forward for standardization of land valuation in Indian parallel economy and diversified situation? I think this has been discussed in previous session. Okay. Thank you very much. I have answered all the questions of the audience. Thank you very much. And I am thankful to my panelists. They have actively participated. I tried to cover up the issues of most of our registered valuers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patel. Ladies and gentlemen, the tea break will take place towards the end of the session, not now. We are starting the valedictory session as our chief guest has already arrived. But before we proceed, we would like to thank our panelist and the speaker, chairperson, as well as the moderator, of course, and to do the honor to the chairperson of this particular session or the last session. Can I request Mr. Tanuj Kumar Bhatnagar, Director, IOVRVF and Council Member of IOV, to be on the stage and do the honor? I would request our chairman for the session, Mr. R.K. Patel, to please come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting the valedictory session right away. So I would request everyone to please be seated at your place. Thank you. I would now request Mr. R.K. Patel, the chairman of the session, now to felicitate the other panelists as well as the keynote speaker. I would request Dr. Gopal, Krishna, Raju to come forward to receive the felicitation from Mr. R.K. Patel. He is, of course, the keynote speaker for this particular technical session. Now, I would request Mr. G.V. Apparao to please come forward for the felicitation. And I would request Mr. Patel to do the honor once again. I would request now Mr. Sachin Garg to please come forward for the felicitation. And Mr. Patel, I would request you once again to do the honor. I would now request Mr. S. Pichaiya to come over for the felicitation. And I would request once again Mr. Patel to do the needful. Mr. Vivek Johar, I would request you to please come forward for the felicitation. And our chairman of the session, Mr. Patel, is doing the honor. Now I would request Mr. Abhay Kumar to please come forward for the felicitation. And I would request once again our chairman for the session, Mr. Patel, to do the honor. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you, Mr. Patel, for conducting the panel discussion beautifully. Now we are starting the valedictory session, and towards the end, we'll be having the awards and, of course, the certification you'll be receiving on your own. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing I would like to mention to all the practicing lady valuers, you're supposed to be gathering after the session here on the right side of the stage for a photo opportunity. All the practicing lady valuers, you're supposed to gather on the right side of the stage for a photo opportunity together.